Ladies and gentlemen, it is Monday night, so you know what that means. Another episode of the Black Baseball Mixtape Podcast. We are live with the Monday crew, and I'm so excited to see them and have them on. Flobo Voice,
Oh,
how
what's
are
going
we
on there, Cheats?
feeling today in your world? There's a lot of Mets talk before we started this podcast. How are
Mm-hmm.
you feeling about baseball, life? What's going on with you, Flobo?
You know what? I try very hard to minimize my Mets fandom, but the best team in
No,
National
you don't.
Leagues, I do all the
That's not
time.
true.
I'm barely wearing a Mets hat right now. It's off the colors and
Right.
everything.
What are we talking about?
But the best team in the National League are the New York Metropolitans. On my sister's show, the In the Booth show with Flobo Boys, we got Jerry Blevins, former Met. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm feeling it right now. Orange and blue all the way.
Yeah.
He's feeling well. I'm glad that you're feeling it. I'm loving it. All about April is in the building. What is going on, April? How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling great. LSU has made it to their eighth World Series or however many World Series. But yeah, we made it to another World Series. So I just feel like I'm on top of the world right now.
That is fantastic. Unfortunately, I'll talk about this in a second, but I think I know how it feels to be either Vanderbilt or Texas on the opposite direction of this. More on that later. Malik, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling very lucky. I was walking around in the streets of Houston the other day, and I actually found this artifact. Somebody like made this random A's art
Wow.
hat, like helmet, and has Colossus on it. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, people on the podcast, but it's an A's helmet with
The X-Men.
Colossus from X-Men on the side. I just found it on the street, and so I'm gonna get it. Maybe get this appraised, you know.
Well,
So
there,
I'll get a picture of it. But
You just picked it up. It's like, all right.
what's happening? Someone
just took it up.
is mad that his Colossus helmet is gone.
For real. CEO Butterman King steals helmet.
is
Details at
happening?
11.
Well,
yeah,
That
I love
is-
art. So
that
like,
is
I love collecting
fantastic.
art. So
that is fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, we got to always thank our sponsors: Steeler Sports, Players Alliance, Rebellion Harvest Sunflower Seeds, Number Game Scorecards, Minority Prospects, Red, Black, and Green Baseball. Please, please, please check out our sponsors. They help us do what we do, so please help them do what they do by your support. I told you guys I'm playing a little hurt today, and I mean that dearly.
Did it day, Cheats?
I mean that dearly.
mm,
Over the weekend, and this is where April you'll understand why I said I feel like Vanderbilt or Texas. My son's little league baseball team were the number one seeds
Oh
in their
Jesus.
little league minor division
Oh God.
going into the playoffs. We had a first round bye, and there was a lot of rain in Virginia. There's been a lot of rain in Virginia, so we hadn't really played a real meaningful game in about 3 weeks. But they were the number one seed. They were the best record. They hadn't lost a game in the division. They tied one, but hadn't lost. And Saturday morning at 9:30, we played the number 4 seed in our little league playoffs. Big crowd, sunny day. We were finally on the field after about a month, and our team proceeded to get mollywopped.
Jesus.
8-1. We lost the game. The championship, I think it's over now, and it was happening tonight. We are not in it. Everybody in there, like, I thought we'd be in it. I really, to this day, I will argue that we had the best team in the division or one of the best teams in the division.
Okay.
However, hey, any given day, baseball, the bats were not hitting. Our lead, so I'll quickly say our team is really, really good defensively, fairly, pretty solid pitching. Our Achilles heel all season, we didn't really, for a little league baseball team, we didn't put together a lot of hits. We scored a lot of runs. We didn't put together a lot of hits. And we faced a pitcher that was throwing strikes. And I'll tell you what, the boys did not hit. They did not hit at all. So I'm hitting. I'm playing hurt. I'm feeling a little pain. But it's baseball, guys. It's baseball.
I'm sorry, but you look like a guy at a press conference. Like they're not going to resign you next season. Like what's happening?
That's the other part of this is that this is probably the last time I was going to be coaching. So I'd already made the decision not to coach next season. Little League.
Retiring?
My son is 10.
Dang.
He's moving up a division. I think it's time for him to hear some other voices. And so I'd already made that decision that I wasn't coming back in the spring. We had a heck of a run. We were defending the championship. There's just a lot going on. There's a lot going on. My son was on the team. My niece, my sister's daughter, was on the team as well. She was fantastic all season. My son was really good all season. And it was like they're kind of grown up. They're first cousins, but they've kind of grown up like siblings. So it was like their chance to win the championship together. And yes, Flobo, it's press conference time.
I'm sorry.
What are we talking about? Practice?
I was kidding.
Practice?
That's 2 weeks in a row.
Not a game. Practice.
Practice.
So that was my weekend. I'm playing a little bit hurt, but I love baseball, man. And baseball is just like I said. Vanderbilt and Texas both went into those regionals thinking they had home field advantage and 3 teams they could beat, and they didn't even go to the super regionals. So I kind of know, it is what it is, guys.
Tough game.
It is what it
Texas
is.
A&M too. Texas A&M ladies, #1 overall seed, and they couldn't.
You believe it? Can you believe? So when I think about that, I try to do the misery loves company thing and not feel really bad, but I still feel really bad. I feel awful. So with that said, guys, that's why I'm playing hurt. Let's go around, man. Big thing. Baseball this week. Big thing, guys. Flobo, start us off.
Yeah. Well, the big thing for us is the All-Star voting is officially open. And even though it seems like it's early enough, I think we have an idea of who's going to go. If you are a fan of the man himself, the captain, the future captain, Francisco Lindor, this should be his opportunity to go to the All-Star game. But I got something on my mind I want to talk to you, right? I understand we can vote multiple times a day. I can understand we can,
right?
5 times a day per email address. Per email address. Hey, come back. And you can also vote multiple days leading up to stage 1 and stage 2. But I feel like voting for someone like Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani is a waste of a vote. I mean, I feel these two men can come dead last, and MLB will not say they can't come. They'll make up a rule for them. It's a chance for those guys who don't get time to shine to get some votes, to get them in the conversation. Am I wrong?
Okay. I need to fully flush this out.
Let's do it.
Anybody else jump in here, because 2 of the best players in the game, you're saying that we don't need to vote for them for the All-Star game.
I can see that point.
Are you looking at it because you're saying other people are going to vote for them?
No, I'm saying, like, let's say nobody votes for, which never happens because it's Shohei Ohtani. Let's be real. Let's say nobody votes for these guys. Do you think the commissioner office that has a choice, a chance to pick people, are not going to pick Shohei Ohtani? You don't think enough people will vote for Aaron Judge on their own?
I get what you're saying.
There's some guys who don't get the chance to shine. So I'm using my votes to get people on the second tier, the third tier in the mix. That's all I'm saying.
So my question to you is, if this is your perspective, do they get an automatic in? And my other question is, should it be an automatic bid for an NL and AL?
Like a MVP situation? No, I'm not saying go that far. I'm not saying make it a formal. I'm just saying, like, I can't imagine someone who stole how many bases last season in Shohei's case and how many bombs that Aaron Judge is hitting this year is not going to make it. It's not going to go. It's not going to be part of their team or represent their league. At the same time, though, there's guys that may need some help, right? There's some guys that may get overlooked, like I can't even think of on top of my head right now. But I'm saying is, like, when you have a chance to vote multiple times a day, why don't you use that to put some people out in the spotlight?
That is a good point, because the All-Star game is also pretty influential in these guys' pay raises when they get to arbitration. So let's say if they had an All-Star break, I guess MVP. I don't know. Like, I feel like what you're saying is right, but at the same time, we don't want to make it like a participation, award for players who aren't the best, who aren't number one. We want to make sure that the votes go to the players who are the best, and that will kind of muddy the the voting system a little bit. But yeah,
that's my point, though. Shohei Ohtani is the best on the planet. So is Aaron Judge. But I argue that if they were having a down season, they would still qualify, would they not? Is that not the participation thing we're
It depends on what you mean on a down season for each of those guys, because
Juan Soto's in a down season. People hate him.
But we also have to remember that the point of the All-Star game is for what the fans want, and that part, people are tuning in to watch Shohei Ohtani or to watch Aaron Judge. And I mean, what is he batting? What, 393 right now, which is absolutely insane.
Yep.
So for me, I guess, how do we manufacture something like that to where it seems as if it is workable? Because my other question to y'all is, let's say we do this automatic bid, hypothetical, okay? Do you choose like the MVPs from the previous year? Like how do we work with something like that to where you have those people, but you also make a way for the young or the up and coming superstars so that they do find a way onto the all-star rosters?
I mean, look, this is interesting. It's an interesting concept. The idea that Judge and Soto are going to make it. I mean, Judge and Shohei, and probably Soto too. They're all probably going to make it based off of off of fan votes.
Soto got haters though. Soto has haters.
Doesn't matter. He plays in New York. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. No, I'm telling you.
So does Lindor.
They're going to make it on fan vote. I'm telling you.
Good point.
And Lindor deserves it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I think this would become really interesting for a player in a big market if they like target it. So say like they targeted Ben Rice or Trent Grisham and just did like a campaign for like a Trent Grisham to make the All-Star team with a pull like a media market like New York and Yankee fandom. They probably have enough, votes to make that interesting. If they made a real campaign for, say, Kiki Hernandez to make the All-Star team because they think it's funny, right?
Yes, voting for Kiki Hernandez would be kind of funny because
I'm just saying. I think that's where it could come into play. I don't think. I understand what you're saying conceptually wise and what individuals could do with their vote, being that those guys are going to be on the team anyway. But it also lends to what April says. Like, these fans are going to vote for Shohei and Judge because they're not only because they're great players, but they're Dodgers and Yankees. And where are the votes coming from?
All right. So who would be your second choice for DH for All-Star that if Shohei was not on the table? Just this. If you're a Kyle Farmer guy, who would you be your second choice?
Me personally?
Yeah, I'm asking everybody right now.
Oh, because again, I don't necessarily.
That's my issue because the homeboy is going to be in there.
Yeah, I mean,
look, I'm going.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm going sentimental value. I'm going for Andrew McCutchen. Could be Andrew McCutchen's last year.
Andrew McCutchen. That's what I'm saying, bro. I feel like
McCutchen in his Roberto Clemente tie-in 240 runs to the Pirates.
Right.
He's still their best hitter on the team. It's crazy, right?
With the All-Star voting,
on the Pirates. Is he?
I think he is.
He is. He really is next to O'Neal Cruz.
I think Cruz
number 2.
With the 2 stages, and the first stage you vote for whatever, the second stage is who starts. We need some backups. That's all I'm saying.
So I like the idea of trying to push the envelope vote-wise for some of the guys that you're saying again. You're saying that deserve it, but probably won't be carrying a popular market like New York or LA or Atlanta or Chicago, right? So give me an example of somebody you would vote for that you think would deserve Aaron Judge or Shohei's vote.
What I'm saying is these players hardly play all 9 innings, right? So they know they're going to be there. I feel like we should vote for in those situations where it seems it's far and away, especially the DH and the NL side, that we vote for our second choices, our third choices.
All right, so give me a name, so I understand.
I don't know what, like Schwarber. Is Schwarber? Does he count? I'm not saying he's better than Shohei. Y'all gonna
misconstrue me, right?
I'm saying that if Shohei's gonna be there, whatever, who's gonna be a second choice? And it's such a drop off. It's like we should have an idea of who should be the second best at that position.
Really good though, right?
I mean, outfielders are grouped together, so it's a little different for Judge. But
Mm.
Shohei is right now as a DH, and there's a huge drop off between what and let's see what else: Ozuna, Schwarber, Sheets, Stevenson, Suzuki. I guess I don't know. Like Josh Bell. Josh Bell's my answer. Let's go, Black Knights.
Jeez. I mean, and I'm not. Well, that's tough. And I like Josh Bell, but that's tough.
Man.
You get him an all-star.
Right.
Anyway, I'm excited.
I like it. Do you guys think voting 5? I think it's too much. Do you guys think voting 5 times a day for this is too much?
Yeah, I think it's too much. It's like those people who boost their streams on music. It's like, I'm pretty sure somebody has set up some type of algorithm or some type of, me putting my conspiracy head. I'm pretty sure someone is sitting somewhere in their room creating code to vote automatic. Like, I don't know. I feel like that's too many votes. And I feel like everyone should just get 2 votes because some of these guys be getting in the All-Star game that maybe shouldn't get in.
I don't understand the 5 times a day. Does anybody understand why they did so much a day? You can vote every day, 5 times a day.
Yeah, I think it's just to discourage doing what Malik is saying. Like, if I'm voting 5 times, I won't be incentivized to like have an algorithm to spam votes.
Really?
I would assume.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, there's a lot of votes. Flobo, you started the show off with a very interesting conspiracy theory about how you can work around the All-Star game.
Yeah, also.
I like it. And I'm looking forward to seeing who's going to make this team because I do think there's a lot of players launching All-Star campaigns.
If Lindor does not get it this season, I'm going to riot. I'm actually going to riot.
I'm more interested in the guys like a CJ Abrams. Where is he going to fall in the All-Star kind of situation? Especially on the Nats, where now James Wood's probably going to go. So like, you're only going to get one or 2 players, right, off of a team. You're guaranteed 1 player off of a team. A team like the Nats, they might not get 2. They're probably only going to get 1. So that's probably going to be James or a pitcher. I mean, probably James.
Well, Mackenzie Gore
could be there
because he's been fucking me. So, but that's a
very close
one.
But so I'm interested in where the All-Star situation looks like. We were talking about it off the air. Lawrence Butler's getting really hot right now, and he made a goal to make it to the All-Star game in his home state of Georgia. The game's in Atlanta this year, but clearly the Athletics aren't getting more than 1. So who do they? Or do you think? Again, that would be an interesting question. Who of the teams that are completely like middle of the pack or lower tier teams do they get more than 1 All-Star?
They don't have the numbers.
Yeah.
It's directly tied to attendance. It's not even like if you win or lose, it's attendance. If your fans are not seeing people live in these markets, there's no one here to advocate for you because big MLB shows only talk about New York, LA, and whoever's popping. So if you're a team that's like in the hunt, like say the Brewers, typically you get 1. The past couple of years you got 2 or so, but like no, it's not gonna be crazy, you know?
That's a really good question. Like, because a team like the Brewers, who are like, 35 and 31, 5, like they're in the middle of the pack of the NL Central. Like, I would even say a team like the Cardinals. The Cardinals are second in the Central. Do they get more than 1 All-Star?
Perhaps they get their catcher.
Yeah, their attendance has dropped off dramatically. So,
but I mean, I'm looking at guys like the Mets and the Phillies. They're going to get Mets, Phillies, and Dodgers are going to get multiple All-Stars. So a team like the Cardinals,
maybe.
Well, my other question to y'all is, like, because baseball is unique in that they are one of the only sports where you have a representative from every team too.
Yes, I like that rule. I think that's a great rule. I think they should always keep that rule.
Really? Why so?
Yes, I am strongly feeling like if that is like the one, so because trust me, I was an Orioles fan for some real dark years.
Most years are dark, yeah.
And I lived for the one Oriole that even didn't start, but got to run out there and fill in the 7th, 8th, or the 9th inning. I needed that.
So I actually agree with you, Cheats. I agree with you, but I asked, like, is it that to me seems a very much definition of social promotion? If it's the All-Star game, if it's the best of the best of the best, why is there one representative of every team?
Yeah, I
agree with you.
I think it's great for the fans. Like April actually said it earlier on. The All-Star game, as great as it is, it's still for the fans. And if you're a fan of a team that doesn't have a player represented at all, I get upset where it's like, oh, I pitched a pitcher, and he's not going to pitch that day. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
oh, whoever Paul Skeens is going to make the team. He's going to represent the Pirates, but he just pitched the day before the break. He's not pitching at all. Like that. Like I feel a little bad about that. I feel a little jaded for the fans there. So I do think that every team should have an all-star representative in Major League Baseball. I really, really like that rule and feel strongly about
I agree.
I love it.
No, look, I agree with you too. But this 5 minutes ago, y'all was saying it's about the fans, best of the best. But then at the same time, every team gets to play. I don't know. Is it all? I don't know.
We've got more time to do this, but because again, there's a team like the Giants. Like I believe strongly that the Philadelphia Phillies will have more than one all-star. The Giants right now are a couple like a position ahead of the Phillies in the National League overall standings. Not sure if the Giants are going to have multiple all-stars.
I give Jing Lee my vote. I like that dude. He's cool.
Love him.
He's
love him. Love Ramos. Love
right.
The thing is the pitching too. There's like I don't really look at pitching as much. So, all right, got to move on.
It's a great one.
The next big topic of the day, we're talking to Malik. Malik, what's on your mind, my brother?
There's been a lot on my mind, but what's been on my mind is some of the underperformers that have been in the league that we would have expected to be all-star contending players on the team. We expected these teams to get to the postseason. And today we're going to pick on the Braves. That's right. So all you Braves fans that are listening,
wasn't my idea.
We're going to talk about
I was waiting for underperforming Orioles on a team that we had high expectations for. But the Braves fit too.
Oh, yes. Yes, definitely. We had some time. We had a good time with the Baltimore Orioles a few weeks ago. We might have to come back to them. And so the Braves, the Braves have been really perplexing me. At the beginning of the season, I think I picked them to either win the division because of that team. I just believed in that lineup. But there's been some holes. There's been some gaping galaxy holes in just their approach, their offense. Just to go back on the last few series that they played against the Arizona Diamondbacks, they lost the first game 8-3. Spencer Strider did not lock it in. He didn't lock it in, but he's coming back from surgery. We have to be patient with him. So we're just like, okay, that's cool. Second game, they lose again, a close game. So those are kind of tough. That third game, when the Braves were up 10-4 early, we're going to turn off the D-backs game. We're like, okay, it's good. We already know who's going to win. The Braves got it. But Raisel Iglesias in that bullpen, they gave it up. And the Diamondbacks just clobbered them in their own stadium, which was also a real big stinker for them. Swept by the Diamondbacks. So, they're all right, we're going to San Francisco. They're not really that good at offense, and we're not that good either. So we can probably be better than them this time. So they go to San Francisco. In more of the same, but mostly these close games. All these games that they lost against the Giants were by 1 run. That is ridiculous. So these losses that the Braves are taking are actually becoming cartoonish at this point. They signed Craig Kimbrell for 1 day on a farewell tour. No entrance, no hallelujah for him. He comes in and they fire him literally within 24 hours. Deuces. So what is going on, Braves fans? Are y'all a little? How y'all feeling right now? Do you feel like the players are complacent because they're getting these contracts early? I've heard a few publications say this. What's going on? I want to know what everyone here thinks about.
I want to go first because
go ahead,
please.
Before the season started, I stated that I did not see them performing well. And my bold prediction was even that the Nats would probably perform better than them. And we are seeing that this is reigning true in some instances, because when I watch the Braves, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I turn the TV. They look lethargic out there at times. And it's hard to be able to watch them we saw them, the shortstop, can't remember his name right now. They had stopped play Arcia. They had stopped playing him initially, and then he was DFA'd and then picked up by the Rockies. But there's been some consistent, a lot of inconsistency with the team. And honestly, I see somebody says the Braves are beating the Brewers, where as we've already seen, these leads are not safe. But with the Braves, I honestly don't know what you're going to get out of them in the games, and that's just kind of my take on that. So,
Well, let's talk about it a little bit more. So the Braves are now record-wise. Again, they were 2-8 in their last 10 games. They are now sitting at 14 games back in their division. This is a division though that also has the Flobo, say it with me, the National League leading
New York
Metropolitans.
Metropolitans.
All right. So the Mets are best team in the National League. Phillies are obviously very good. 4.5 games back. The Nationals have moved ahead of the Braves, but we knew that because the Braves are off to a slow start. They're 11.5 games back. The Braves are 27-37, and at one point, not too long ago, really started looking like they were showing signs of improvement. Right? They looked like, because I kept saying, "Don't look down. Here comes the Braves," and I think at one point they had overtaken the Nationals to be third in the division.
They did.
And then they had this slide down where they're just kind of falling off of a cliff. If you look at their team statistics, Austin Riley probably still their best hitter. Right? Correct me if I'm wrong, Malik. You tell me.
Yeah, I think like Ozuna is still like one of their best hitters.
Yeah, like point. Austin Riley's up there. Ozzy Osby, Michael Harris, Matt Olson, and Ozuna is kind of their core. They just got Ronald Acuna back. Is this still? You guys tell me. Is this still really them getting off to just an absolute atrocious start? Also, bright spot of the entire Braves for me, Drake Baldwin.
Yeah,
not want to not mention that 7 home runs, proving that he can be a big league catcher and hit big league pitching, because that was the question on him, was could he hit. I think Drake Baldwin's a bright spot there. But do you guys think that this is just, you can't win a pennant in the first month, but you can kind of lose it? And do we think that the Braves' just really awful start is what is kind of ultimately doomed them in?
I'd like to respond to that. I think that just to kind of recap on what you're saying about these players and their hitting stats, their best players, like you said, Matt Olson, Austin Riley, Acuna, the cream of the crop. These are the guys that hit the big home runs. And then when you get into that kind of that second B tier, which for the Braves is kind of already at a high level, you got Michael Harris, you got Ozzy Albies. These guys still kind of have flaws in their swings, but we kind of expect them to kind of pick it up when the big guys aren't picking it up. So I think what's going on is when the big guys like Olson, Riley, Acuna, finally back, are starting to get hot. The B core hitters were not picking it up at that time. And so we're kind of seeing like them kind of cave in a little bit. In the bullpen, that's been a big reason why this team hasn't been winning.
Yes, and that was my concern before the season started. I said that pitching was going to be a big factor because they had lost a couple of big pitchers. And so how would they replace those pitchers to that level of performance? And I just haven't seen that either.
And one more thing, and that's a great point. When are the Braves going to get a shortstop, like a serious shortstop? They haven't had they have punted, they have just let shortstop, like whatever. Every team gets a shortstop from within. They're like, hey, Arcia, come on, 600 OPS, that's cool. Get Nick Allen. Like, what's going on? Like I feel like every playoff team needs a legit shortstop, and that's what the Mets have, and that's why they're leading the division.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think there is a hole at shortstop. I think there's some issues with pitching. One thing I don't think we can say, in 15 games, Ronald Acuna has been pretty good. Ronald Acuna has been pretty damn good.
Awesome.
we also got to think about the blow that they took with Profar and his steroid getting busted there, because that was their big signing, right? That was their big offseason
Ruined my
signing,
fantasy team, but yeah,
right. And then he wound
It's a
up,
blow.
not being able to play. And then was it Sean Murphy started hurt?
Mm-hmm.
Ron Acuna started hurt. And again, there was some parts of this where it was like, okay, here comes the Braves. Here comes the Braves. And then they just sputtered, especially the last 10 games. I am not, you can mark this down today on the podcast. I am not counting these guys out. I'm not.
come on, man. What do you need?
You don't have to. I already have, but that's okay.
What more evidence do you need, Cheats?
Hear me out.
Take the pulse. It's cold.
We listening.
You got the Baltimore hat on though.
I'm looking at these wild cards. All right. I'm looking at these wild cards, and yes, the Braves are really, really bad, and the wild card movement isn't like, it's not like a division movement situation. Mm-hmm. However, 9.5 games out of the wild card, which, again, everybody in Major League Baseball basically gets in the playoffs these times a year. If they can really start to put it after what the Tigers did last year, it is going to be hard for me to count just about anybody out. If it seems that they're within 10 games of the wild card slot. So I just think that the Braves are more talented than that. I'll be interested to see if they get past the All-Star break and they completely do what they did in the last 10 games. And everybody says that there's no hope and we're past the we're getting to that trade deadline talk. I'll be interested to see where the Braves are. But I still feel like in my heart of hearts, do you guys think they're not going to finish third in the NL East? I think they're going to finish third in the NL East. You don't think they're going to overtake the Nationals?
But finishing third in the NL East, does that get them?
No,
I don't know. I don't know about the wild
NL
card.
West is too strong, man.
But I think
the West
I
and then
think
the
that there's
Central's
still
coming
some.
up.
I think while you guys think it's written off, I think there's some pulse there to get them in the wild card. I do.
There are 11 teams that have in the National League. There are 11 teams that have 30 wins. The Braves aren't one of them. And in June really is the litmus test. If this was May, if this was like April, okay, yeah. But June, that's why I think, and not to make it about the Mets, but why the 24 Mets team was so great, because they got hot in June. That almost never happens to do that, to have a playoff run. And like the Mets, I've seen seasons where we won 101 games and flame out in the playoffs. The difference is the culture, because no one is telling me the Braves are terrible. No one's telling me the Braves have no kind of soul. It's the culture. And maybe it was Ron, maybe it was the Freddie incident, maybe it was not doing enough in the offseason, but you go out there and you are losing by 1 run every day. That is a focus issue, Cheats. And you're going like, they got a chance. They don't got no chance. The Nats have a chance. The Phillies have a chance. The Mets have a chance.
I think they have a chance.
And let me say that didn't start this year. That 1-run loss or blowing losses, that was last year too. So this is why when we had the discussion, I really saw the beginning of the drop off when Ron left. I don't know if that is something that a lot of other people notice, but for me, that was a factor, a noticeable factor.
Ron Washington or Acuna?
Washington.
Okay. Hey, what do you want? They dropped off too.
You know what? You're right. You're right.
I don't know, man. Braves are 89 wins. Braves are 89.
You know what? Y'all can have faith, and I'm not saying this as a the notable hater. This is just I feel like other teams have gotten better, and I just haven't seen that from them. And collectively as a team, I don't see them playing well. Now, what we do see are what we typically see is after All-Star, some teams turn it on and they don't turn it off. But is it going to be enough at that particular time? Maybe it'll be enough for them to overtake the Nats, but will it be enough for them to actually make a wild card? I just think that there are so many better teams than them.
I think there's a lot of better teams than them. I'm not ready to do it just yet.
That's what I'm here for.
But the Marlins are 3 games back right now. 3. The
Who's that?
Marlins are 3 games back.
Right.
That's how dire this is. This is Atlanta, the class of the division for years, and you're 3 games ahead of the Marlins, bruh.
Hey, the Marlins sometimes they like to
That's
hit.
what I'm saying.
Sometimes. So if they play each other, it's going to be a tough series.
I think we're saying all of this, and the funny thing is for me is I don't feel that the Braves are 100% dead, and the Orioles are technically 8.5 games out of the wild card. I feel like they're definitely dead. I feel like
Yeah, I guess Cheats, like what you're saying. It just depends on their competition. It's like
you guys might
like when the Tigers came up,
be on
they had the
because again, I don't think the
He said
Orioles have a
might.
shot in the world.
You
So
might be onto something. This
yeah,
dude.
you might be on something. All
I
right, let's
think.
switch gears again because the one thing I want to talk about with you guys is I can't flash it on the screen. I wish I could. If I was a little bit more prepared, I would have, and I apologize for that. There's these reports that always come out when you talk about MLB attendance and capacity, rate changes, and things of that nature. I found the attendance fascinating, and I know we talked a lot about attendance last week when we were looking at Miami and Tampa Bay and some of these teams like Colorado. And I think the Marlins had 5,800 paid tickets one night on like an afternoon day game where the Red Sox still had like 30,000 in Fenway.
But they were playing the Rockies, though. Let's be fair. It was Marlins.
Right,
Rockies.
it was Marlins Rockies. How bad is that?
Yeah.
So I mean, here's the thing. It looks as if average attendance here has come out, has been released. The changes are the thing that I know Flobo highlighted earlier in the week with the Mets attendance dropping. So there's some major movers, one way or the other, big jumps, big reductions, and I think the list is fascinating. So without going over too further ado, just hit like some of the highlights, and you guys tell me if you're surprised at any of this. Average attendance leader, I'm not surprised at all, is the Los Angeles Dodgers. Their average attendance is about 50,388 per game per se. San Diego Padres. I always knew that the Padres were a well-attended team. Like their fans come out. They were number 2 at 42,000. I knew the Phillies on the East Coast. They were number 3 at 41,000. So the Dodgers, the Padres, and the Phillies all have better average attendances than the next two, which are the Yankees and the Mets. I'm not surprised at all. I think that all of those really good. We talk about the Braves. Before I go any further, Flobo, I want to give you the floor though, because the biggest jump in attendance has been the New York Mets. So the Mets are playing great baseball. They already had really good attendance. They've jumped 52% in fandom. And Flobo, this is your chance to tell the world why Juan Soto is the most important player on the New York Mets, because he single-handedly has revived Citi Field and brought 52.3 more fans to the Metropolitans. Explain to me why Soto is awesome.
I am conflicted. You guys know how I feel about the situation. But yes, look, Soto's a draw. People buy tickets to see Soto shake his sides or whatever when he does the shovel. I get it. But I want to give all the credit in the world to Steve Cohen, because at Mets Day last in the offseason, when they signed Soto, he was like, we're doing what we can, but we were 18th in Major League Baseball. 18th. Like they were getting outdrawn by the Rockies last year. And so fans came out, and the fact they kind of responded in kind, the team is good now. It means the world. But yes, Juan Soto has something to do with it. Lindor being captain has something to do with it. Pete Alonso's chase to be the team leader in home runs has something to do with that. But I got to give the credit to people like us who are just so snake bitten and afraid of the Mets losing in our face live. We said, screw it, and came out anyway.
Malik, the Detroit Tigers have a 38.9% increase in fandom. Obviously, the Tigers made that run last year deep into the playoffs, surprised a whole bunch of teams. The Tigers are the best team in baseball now, but it's cold in Detroit. What do you think attributes to an increase of 39.5% in their fandom?
Oh, that's easy. Winning thaws things out. You go to the city of Detroit, and if you go downtown, you just see how close everything is. It's a real good vibe. You go to the ballpark, and you can even go to like a football game, like within walking distance. It's a town that really loves baseball. It's a really good baseball city. And so when the team is winning, and they've had some great teams, they've had some awesome teams in the past. And so right now they have a really interesting team. I would say it's one of the more interesting teams I've ever seen, because it's not the same Tigers team that we've seen with Miguel Cabrera, Victor Martinez, Prince Fielder, these big bopper guys. We have a team of like really like athletic players, and I think that the jump in attendance is just telling that there is a strong fan base in Detroit that wants to see winning baseball. And that even if your ownership and your GM are not aligned, and there's a lot of tanking going on, you can revive a city. You can revive a city's motivation to come back to the baseball games. Things that could happen in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is a historic franchise, just like the Tigers. Imagine if Pittsburgh were to do just a little bit of what the Tigers is doing, with developing their players and investing in some free agents that can help their ball club. And so it just shows that if you invest a little money in your team, maybe people will come out.
I like this. April, I'm going to go to you on this one, but really quick in the comments, shout out to the brother that said he learned about the podcast from Number Game Scorecards. He said he saw one on Reddit, and now he found out about Numbers Game. I'm going to cook that up. Numbers Game, make sure you check them out. One of our best partners and supporters. April, let me ask you. The St. Louis Cardinals are now starting Mason Wynn. They're starting Victor Scott II. Jordan Walker's getting a lot of starts. He's not. I'm looking at the lineups every day. I don't think Walker's been in recently, but normally, under normal circumstances, the St. Louis Cardinals usually have 3 African Americans in their starting lineup. As a result, their attendance has dropped under 20%. Right. Why do black people in the lineup in St. Louis result in a drop in attendance? April, this is on you.
Answer the man. Answer the man, April.
I'm sorry. I'm joking around. But the Cardinals have dropped.
The attendance dropped, and that was actually the notable one for me, that besides them and Tampa. But if we remember in the offseason, there were so many rumors about what was happening with St. Louis.
Right.
And a lot of it was they were going to sell the players away. So I think that the fans are responding by not showing up. And let's not also forget, the Cardinals did not start off the season on a very positive note. They were losing a lot of games, and that has not come back to the fan side of things. What we are also seeing with many of these places is not just the economy.
Can we talk about the Cardinals real quick? Because they're actually not playing bad baseball.
No, that's what I said. They're not playing bad baseball right now. They were playing bad baseball initially. But when you hear your star player attached to multiple teams in the offseason, and the fact that you are possibly going to just, start all over again, as a fan base, why would I be investing my money when I don't even know if what I'm investing in is going to be worth it? I can spend my money elsewhere and enjoy that in peace. And that is something that I think a lot of teams have to remember. And we're seeing that with fans opting out in these particular ways. That's the way I saw the St. Louis drop off, because 20.5% is crazy.
I think you're onto something. In all seriousness, I was joking about Wynn, Walker.
Oh no, we know.
I think they're all 3 have huge star. No, I think they have star potential.
Yeah.
I think what April said hits a head on the nail, though. You have a marquee star player in St. Louis that literally all you heard was what team is he going to play for, and it was not the St. Louis Cardinals. So it's like, who are you attaching? Like, you take Nolan off that team, and you're like, who do you attach yourself to on that team? Like, who's the star that's going to drive fandom? In Detroit, they have Scooble. They have, you know what I mean? Like, they have somebody that takes the ball every 5 days, and like, you're going to see a show. Kansas City is up. Kansas City
Right.
is up 16%
Mhm.
because, and again, I
Yeah.
told y'all before the season,
Yeah.
I was already tired of Bobby Witt Jr. before the season. He's a heck of a player.
Right.
Yeah.
But he was on
Yeah.
every marketing promotional
Right.
thing.
And
And
that
so,
matters. Yeah.
but you can
Love
attach
that.
yourself to that star, right?
Right.
And they're up in attendance. I love this chart, man. I love
Me
this
too.
chart because it shows a lot of you know, what makes these teams and these cities and the environment and it proves, well, one of the things that's interesting is it really does play out, whether you believe it or not, the cost of winning.
Yes.
Winning matters in some cities, and other cities winning might not matter that much.
Exactly.
Right? And it's like it's interesting to
Yeah.
see who has good teams and how the attendance falls. I've always been extremely surprised about that Houston Astro fandom. We talked about
Yes.
it every time the jersey sales come out, that there's usually like 3 or 4 Astros
Yeah.
on there, and I'm like, where does this come from? But it's like the Astros right now are kind of, they're the top half of the audience, but they're I
Right.
think they're down a little bit percentage wise this year.
Yeah, Tucker and Bregman didn't help
Exactly.
that.
Exactly.
Sending them away. That didn't
So,
help that case. So
last thing we'll talk
yeah.
about this, because I find this chart fascinating, and it's
Yeah.
the MLB
Yeah.
attendance and capacity chart, and we can go through the the Mets are the real winner, Flobo. The Mets are the real winner when it comes to attendance jump
Yeah.
and capacity. Like
Absolutely.
that's the answer to the question.
Yeah.
But if we were being academic, the actual answer of who has the biggest jump is actually the Athletics.
Mhm.
Right.
So
But
so the Athletics average attendance in 2004, paid attendance, was 6,132.
right.
It was god awful. It was the Coliseum. It was sell the team. It was an active protest not to go to the game, which is laughable.
Good times.
So
Good
in
times.
Sacramento right now, they're averaging. So they went from paid average attendance of 6,132 to now average attendance 10 in a minor league baseball stadium, 10,167. So that is actually a jump of 65.8%. They were talking. I watched the Orioles. I think all 3 of the Orioles games when they were playing in Sacramento on the West Coast. This is a 3-year stopgap in Sacramento, and they have not started breaking ground in Vegas yet. So we have no clue what ultimately is going to happen to the Athletics. But they were talking during the Orioles series about if that stadium's even going to get built.
There's something else I want to add to this too, because there have been recent discussions and numbers that have also come out about the improvement in not just people watching baseball on TV, but the people actually going to games. So I think a big part of the attendance thing that we have to keep in mind as well is that people are becoming more attracted to the idea of Major League Baseball.
Yeah, I agree. Can we talk about the jump the White Sox had after last season? They actually got more fans per game
White Sox are up 7%.
Yes.
After having a historically bad season.
Their average attendance.
Hey, that's up there.
Exactly. Yeah.
I like watching the White Sox and the Athletics games because those guys like to play. Those young players like
culture matters. See that, Atlanta? Yeah.
And the black coach.
Let's be honest here. The team that is taking the biggest hit, and it's through Mother Nature, is the Rays. The Rays were averaging 15,980 fans, and now they can only fit at total capacity 11,000 in that in Steinbrenner spring training facility. So it's like, man, this is fun though. This is really fun, and I do think that there's a product that's on the field, right? There's a product that's on the field. And then there's a whole operation of things that have absolutely nothing to do with baseball on the field that tries to get fans in the stadium, right? And oftentimes the right hand doesn't even know what the left hand is doing. So if you talk to like stadium operations and guys that want to just, promotions and things that are trying to get people in the stands, they have no clue who's playing second base with the Cubs. They just know it's koozie night because this is our marketing plan. You know what I mean? And it's really cool to see how all of that stuff. And I think that's where the Mets win, Flobo, because I think Steve Cohen really knows what's happening on the field and also caters the attractions, if you will, around, let's make it Puerto Rican night. Let's make it Dominican night. Let's give jerseys, Soto Dominican jerseys to the fans because they kind of have this synergy and connection of what's happening on the field versus what's going to get the fans. LA does it really well too.
Houston does it well.
The other team in Major League Baseball.
Houston actually does that very well. They have nights for like everything. The giveaways, the bobbleheads, the food nights, the dollar dog nights. Like they have a lot of nights to attract. So that also plays a role in the attendance.
Yeah, the faith night, they know we in the Bible Belt, so they're gonna work.
The Dodgers got Catholic night. I hear that.
It's Sunday.
Know it.
No, but
that White Sox Pope promotion's coming real soon.
Oh yeah.
No, when they were given, they had like ladies' night one night. They had one of the cartoon character giveaway jerseys. I'm not gonna lie, Astros do a really good job of promoting.
And that's what we're trying to say about teams, right? You have the culture of it. You have the giveaway nights. You got the players you could build around. You got like deals for people that may be in different economic places. So there's many different tricks to do it. This is why it's so interesting to watch the Rockies, because for a long time it didn't matter if the team was bad, but now they're feeling it now. But yeah, that's the name of the game. You got to get two players you love to put on posters and koozies and like souvenir cups.
And Flobo, let's be honest, because they're quote unquote feeling, but they're only down 1.3% from last year, and they're historically bad.
Right.
I mean,
they're only down 1.3%.
If they're a run the mill, it wouldn't be an issue. You know what I mean? It's the fact that they're just so like national news bad. That's the reason it's an issue.
I would say the biggest hit, like looking at the chart, the biggest hit based off of lack of talent, and I can see this, is the Orioles. The Orioles are down 13% in fandom, and I think that's a direct result of them being bad on the field. And I say that because we go every year, and I think I might have remember telling you guys this story on the podcast. I bought the same tickets last year that I bought 2 years ago, in the same section, same seat, and I remember asking myself, why is this so much more expensive for a family of three last year than it was 2 years ago? And somebody just said, it's simple. It's a sliding scale ticket purchase, and the Orioles are good. You're going to pay more money to go to the and everything was sold. Like we were there, and everything was sold out. And again, I tell people this all the time. When the Orioles are good, you see way more black families in the audience. I mean, in the crowd. It's awesome to see. Like you see, just tons of black families when the Orioles are good, because it's something to do. It's something to see. People are talking about the O's. The demographics changes when they're good, and more people come out and so forth. I think that their 13% drop is a direct reflection of them not being good right now, and the fans are just not coming out for a bad product. So, with that said, let's switch some gears. Let's talk some college, and you know who we go to when we talk college. All About April has been following the Women's College World Series that concluded. She is now fully into the trip to Omaha, the road to Omaha, if you will. What is on your mind as your big topic of the day, All About April?
Well, first of all, I want to give a congratulations to the University of Texas Longhorns for winning their very first College World Series. And shout out to Mia Scott for doing it on one knee. One knee. But
you can't put me in this whole Texas Tech ride and just rip my heart out at the end, y'all.
I will say, I also felt conflicted about this, right?
Yeah.
Because we're talking about Niger Candidate every day. And then it's like, oh, now we got to talk about like all the Texas players. But there you go. I'm sorry, April.
No, yeah. No, there's her, and then Texas Tech actually just picked up another player, Jasmine Burns, from the transfer portal. So we'll be talking a little bit more about that on my podcast, etc. But for the fellas, Duke actually just lost, and they were
Mhm.
hosting their super regional. They lost to Murray State, and this is Murray State's first time ever making it to the College World Series. So for people who aren't particularly into college baseball, 8 teams go to the College World Series. They compete. They have their little bracket, and then ultimately you make it to the last round, 2 out of 3 games. So the 8 teams that will be playing will be Miami, Oregon State,
No,
Arizona.
right? That's not
Huh?
right? Miami didn't make it, did they? That was Louisville. Did Louisville come out of there?
Oh, you're right. You're right. I'm sorry. No, Miami beat them. Maybe.
Louisville punched their ticket.
Okay, just kidding. All right, Louisville. I thought it was Miami. My bad.
I love
Louisville,
it.
Oregon State, Arizona, who beat a very good North Carolina team.
Yep.
Coastal Carolina, they're back there again.
Yep.
Arkansas, the Louisiana State University,
Yes.
Murray State, and the final one is UCLA.
Yes. Yes. So I mean, look, really, really good teams that are there. I think the biggest story, April, I'm going to ask you, what's the biggest story? Is the biggest story the teams that made it or the teams that didn't?
I think last week the biggest story would have been the teams that didn't make it, which were Vanderbilt, Texas, Ole Miss, the amount of SEC teams that lost. This week it would definitely be North Carolina because they were literally handing out losses by football scores. But I think right now going into the College World Series, all eyes will definitely be on the LSU Arkansas game, but there are a lot of people who like the Coastal Carolina team.
Yep.
So that would be one I would tell you to definitely watch out for. Murray State is going to be the Cinderella team this year since it's their first ride making it there. And then of course Oregon State is just not a team to sleep on. They play some great baseball if you have never seen them play. So that is kind of the road to Omaha right now, which begins Friday. So there will be 2 games on Friday.
Yep, it begins on Friday. It begins on Friday with Coastal Carolina and Arizona, Oregon State and Louisville. Saturday, your first round game is our UCLA versus Murray State. And then 7 p.m. Saturday, June 14th, lock it in, Arkansas and LSU. April, who's going to win this thing?
Winning it all will be Louisiana State University. Will be winning our
LSU winning it all
championship. Yes.
Wait, actually, or because you're a fan of LSU? Like, do you think they have the best team, or just fandom?
I honestly think the 2 best teams in the tournament are LSU and Arkansas. This is what I said before the tournament even started. I mentioned that, but I think that LSU, our hitting has shown up with players like Stephen Milam and Bear Jones. They're playing some great ball. Stanfield out in center field, he's always a great time. But I think that we have 2 of the best pitchers in all of college baseball on the mound, in Cade Anderson and Anthony Ianson. And I think that the freshman Kason Evans coming in to be a reliever is another one to give us that momentum over everyone else.
But you definitely have one of the best pitchers in Cade Anderson. We obviously are big fans of Ianson on the mixtape as well. Cade is in the 2025 draft pool, so it looks like he will be a top 3 pick. If not, he could go 1 overall. I do not think Ianson's in the draft pool, right?
They've been saying that he's not pitching at Alex Box next year, so I don't know. I'm hoping he comes.
I mean,
back.
is he? I haven't looked I haven't looked to see of the top 15 draft picks. I think I've only seen Kyson Witherspoon out of Oklahoma as an African American pitcher, right-handed pitcher in the top 15, and then there's a Kason Cunningham out of a high school in Texas that's also in the top 15. Other than that, a little bit down when it comes to the last couple of years. We've had a ton of African American first round talent, and all the mock drafts this year I have only seen Witherspoon and Cunningham in like the top 15. Clearly that can change. Guys like, if you remember, guys like Christian Moore from Tennessee last year was not considered a first-round draft pick at all until after the College World Series. And now he's going to be in the big leagues this year. I guarantee you Christian Moore will get the call to play for the Angels sometime this year. So, really quick to put a bow on this as well. As April,
who do you have winning? Who do you have winning it all? Who do you have winning it all?
LSU. And it's not because I'm biased, and in that sense is I'm familiar with LSU. I watch LSU quite a bit. And of the teams I've seen, I haven't even seen Arizona, UCLA, Oregon State, any of the West Coast teams I haven't seen. I believe, and we got to do the numbers, and we'll have these for next week. I believe Louisville, there's a player, Zion Rose, I believe is on Louisville, and quite a few African-American, like black ball players on that Louisville team. So I want to watch them closely. Really but, shout out to my guy King. My guy Billy King says it's wide open in the College World Series, and I kind of agree, but I do think that Arkansas-LSU matchup is going to be the one. Really quickly, just to say as well, Coastal Carolina is ranked number 13 in the country. So they've got the national rankings, and then that's how they start the tournament. I'm going to start the regionals, not just the super regionals. They start the regionals with the national rankings. So of the final 8 teams, this is interesting. Coastal Carolina was ranked number 13 in the country. Arizona is unranked. Oregon State is number 8. Louisville is unranked. LSU is number 6. Arkansas is number 3. UCLA is number 15, and Murray State is unranked. So the best, like I said, think about those numbers. And the highest seed is Arkansas at number 3, and I think the second highest seed is LSU at number 6. But 1 is not there, 2 is not there, 4 is not there. There's a lot of teams that are feeling like my minor division athletics that did not make the championship round. And I'm going to down the hill, talking about Little League Baseball today. That is fantastic. Any other last words? April, I do have to ask you as well about, because we were covering it, we talked about it a lot. The Athletes Unlimited did debut on MLB Network. It was the Volts versus the Blaze. Did you watch it? First of all, what did you make of it? And like how did the Athletes Unlimited, the AUSL, compare to what we saw in Oklahoma City with the College World Series?
I feel like it was great because it was almost just a continuation of the high note that we had. So with the Women's College World Series, you saw some of the women who competed, like Sam Landry, Danica Coffey of LSU, and Michaela Edenfield of Florida State. They're also playing on teams like the Volts.
Yeah.
So now for me, I tuned in on MLB.com and also MLB.tv. Those are 2 ways. It is absolutely free for you to be able to do it. And actually, right before this show, I was watching the Volts versus the Blaze. And the Volts had defeated the Blaze twice, but the Blaze came out and they won tonight. So the Volts are no longer undefeated. For people who don't know, there are only 4 teams currently within the AUSL: the Talons, the Bandits, the Blaze, and the Volts. And they will be playing periodically. They're going to be traveling the country. So please make sure you check your local listings for where that is. And you can also look at my page, because I'll be posting quite a bit on my stories about where they will be playing. I know June 12th, this particular weekend, they're going to be playing in Lake Charles, Louisiana, because my dad is actually trying to drive out to go and see them. And July 17th, 20th time, they'll be in Austin, Texas. So those 2 are particularly on my radar, because those are games that I may be able to show out for. But I'm really excited about it. The games were actually sold out. The lines were literally, like, you could see the lines. They also had like face paintings and activities for people out there for the very first time, which I thought was was great as well. But you got to see some of the favorites from even the past. So people like Alicia Ocasio, Odyssey, and yeah, it was just
Alexandria. Yeah,
yes, thank you.
Odyssey Alexandria.
Yes,
Is that what it is?
yes,
Yep.
Odyssey Alexander.
From James Madison University. Yeah.
Yes. So it's great to see them back on the field. And of course, Aaliyah Andrews from the LSU as well.
She's on the Blaze.
Yes, she's on the Blaze. So I will definitely tell y'all, make sure you decide who you want your team to be.
I was going to ask you, I'm like, which one should I pick?
Yeah. Well, no, hold on, wait a second, Flobo. Can we do the same thing we did for
Baseball United,
which is basically what we did? Didn't we farm out? You might not have. I farmed out.
Yeah. I bought in. I was like, I'm a Falcons guy. Bam. But you were like, no.
So I needed proposals.
Yeah. Wanted applications
from each team as to what. And look, if they do this, they will tell you online. So this is what we'll do, April. Okay. 10th inning talk. This is what you should do.
Okay.
You should make a reel on 10th inning talk saying, unless you've decided, saying that your fandom is up for grabs and the brand new Athletes United Softball League, and each team should tell you why they are the best team to have your loyalty for life.
Okay. I think I kind of put on TikTok what my team was going to be, but I'm going to do it for everybody else so that people can have their team as well.
Right. Like my fandom, it can be bought at this point.
Yes, because I've been following this for a while, and I've been really, really excited about a professional softball league of this caliber coming back. And for those who don't know as well, Kim Ng is the commissioner of the league. So this is going to be well done. I have no doubts about that.
All right. Well, that's where we have lots going on. Obviously, NCAA baseball men's College World Series. Omaha starts on Friday. Athletes Unlimited is underway. Flobo, you were mentioning something that you were looking at, following, tracking with our friends over at Baseball United.
Oh, this is actually pretty cool. What Baseball United do. Press release came out today. So there's four teams: the Falcons, the Wolves, the Monarchs, and I'm missing one.
Karachi. What is Karachi?
Cobras. I'm owned by Cobras.
Okay. Cobras. My fandom is still up for grabs, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. But this may change because a press release went out today saying that Baseball United, in conjunction with Japanese television, is doing a reality show called Tryout Plan D, with the winners getting 2 roster spots for the Mideast Falcons that play in Abu Dhabi, or they represent Abu Dhabi. So it's going to be Japanese prospects looking for a way to play in Baseball United, and then they'll play this fall in Dubai, which is crazy. You think about it.
Well, hold on, because we've had this before, right?
No, they
what's the one in a million? What's the one in the million?
Was it the knuckleball
$1 million arm.
Yeah, $1 million arm with the WWE guy.
Yeah, well, they let him go, but Veer Mahan was the other guys. But Veer is coming. No, but think about this: you're a prospect in Japan. You do this thing, and you get to play in Dubai. That must be a huge responsibility or opportunity, excuse me, for these young players. So,
I like it. I like the innovation behind it. Mm-hmm. Is it a Netflix reality series? Is that what it's going to be?
It looks like it's going to be on Tokyo Broadcast System. Okay. Whether or not it's going to be online is the TBD. But Baseball United, man, I'm looking forward to it.
Let me tell you, I'm sold on it. Yeah. If it's any type of Drive to Survive F1 Academy type thing, I'm in. I was binging F1 Academy the last 48 hours. I'm in.
Let me ask you this, Cheats. Yeah. The winners get to play for the Mideast Falcons. Would that be your fandom if you watch this show?
No.
Would you?
No, you still have to suck up to me.
All right.
Which
I gotta sell it.
I would say includes like any type of merch. Like if you send me a hat, I'm a hat guy. Right. If you send me a 5950 fitted for whatever team, I'm there. I'm yours, baby.
Got to get Nick Fisher on the phone.
Absolutely.
I have one more thing before we get off.
fun fact, I got this idea. A good friend of mine, I think he wrote to he was getting into European soccer. He's a United States. He's in the U.S. and he was getting into European soccer, and he wrote every club in, like, I don't know if it was the Premier League or something, but he wrote every club in the division he was following, and just said, "Why should I be a fan of your team?" And just about, I want to say, like 5 or 6 clubs sent him care packages, and this is why you should be a fan of our team. And that was
What?
it. And he publicly selected his fandom based on who touched him the most in their response letter.
Just
Okay.
mail fraud.
That's a good idea.
It can
Mail
be
fraud.
done. What'd you say?
Mail fraud.
No. It can be
Just
done.
send me merchandise. I'll talk about it.
It can be done. No, look. There was. You want to talk about fraud? Now, look. I won't go off the rails here, but there was a time, long removed, statute of limitations is really gone now. But I know about some college situations where they just made up charities and wrote like, Hershey's or Reese's or whoever it was, and was like, "Can you donate candy to this made up fictional charity?" And lo and behold, that fraternity was stocked with like everything you needed for the entire year. Just off of these
allegedly, yeah.
It was a whole It was a whole operation. So it can happen, but the fan thing is real.
I like that. I'm gonna try that.
Well, see, here's the thing, April. You have real kids. You have real causes. They could definitely send you stuff.
Right.
It's like a write-off, right? No, all right, we're off the rails. Ladies and gentlemen,
the Talons and the Bandits play tomorrow on ESPN2. So if anybody is interested in watching, you definitely want to tune in tomorrow on ESPN2. They will be playing.
And and it is great to see Major League Baseball throw their weight behind marketing and promotion and putting games on television. I think it's only going to help because, again, these leagues, there's been iterations of these leagues. Professional women's softball, for lack of a better term, a lot like some of the things we saw with the Negro leagues. Like, leagues pop up, leagues go away. Leagues pop up, leagues go away. And they've got to organize. They've got to get that. Maybe Kim is the Rube Foster that actually builds a lasting league, right? But the fact that MLB is putting it on TV and you're trying to ride the wave of these amazing college players, which I think is the right thing to do.
Right.
People forget, like before there was Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark and all of that talk, the reason why the NBA really took off in 1979 was because Magic Johnson and Larry Bird played in college and then were both rookie sensations on the Lakers and the Celtics.
Right.
That's like the fans were able to grow with Magic and Bird, and now they're growing with Angel and Caitlin, and hopefully they'll be able to grow with the players of Athletes United, especially when our girl Naja gets over there. We'll see what happens. She's still got a year left in college, but we'll see. Mia Scott, very interesting because she has said publicly that she does not want to play professional baseball, professional softball. So interesting because she was one of the ones that they wanted to immediately take over. So, but you'll hear other names, Maya Brady and some others you hear a lot about. So, all right, crew, this has been great. A lot of baseball to talk about, a lot of things to talk about. We have got two podcasts that released this morning. This morning, you can hear Tony Gwynn Jr. on the Black Baseball Mixtape podcast. You can also hear Jonathan Tuda Thomas, who's a AA player for the Harrisburg Senators, who also went to Texas Southern. So you can hear his journey from an HBCU to the pros. I think he was drafted in the 19th round. Tuda is about 5'7", 5'8", but he also is like, he led all of high A, I want to say last year, with like 60+ stolen bases or something. He's an amazing player. Great story. So you got two great stories on the podcast. Now, if you go to the Instagram page, you will see a trailer for a documentary film called Black to the Bigs. The film is made by Crystal Garrett. It is phenomenal. It features Mookie Betts, Ken Griffey Jr., Harold Reynolds, Dusty Baker, Jerry Manuel, Tony Regans, and yours truly. from the Black Baseball Mixtape. I am not. Look, I didn't do any sit down interviews. they pulled a couple of our clips like Pat McAfee and just threw them in there.
Hey, that counts, bro. That counts.
Crystal is phenomenal.
Your
I had
voice
to
is
sign release
there.
and everything.
That's
It was
what we
awesome.
need.
Crystal's great. Black to the Bigs has debuted on a PBS station already. There
Oh,
will
wow.
be screens around the country. You can actually rent the film, or I guess purchase it for download now from their website. But it's one of those films that's just getting off the ground, and it's going to make its way around film festivals and tours and all that stuff. So wishing Crystal the very best of luck. Black to the Bigs is the name of that. Got a lot of feedback on the Instagram page already. Make sure you check it out and share that. Oh, man, a lot going on. Flobo Boys, you have a brand new in the booth.
Yeah, hanging out with Mets legend Jerry Blevins, who was the narrator for a documentary called Fielding Dreams, a celebration for baseball scouts. So it was a documentary about baseball scouts. Jerry does the narration on it. So we talked about that, the game itself, how the scouting work. And he has his own whiskey brand. I didn't even realize that. With him and Tyler Clippard out there making whiskey out there in Ohio. So check that out wherever you get your podcast.
Awesome.
Yeah, relief pitchers are so interesting. They have like the most interesting lives.
Yeah, facts.
April 10th inning talk. What do we got? What's happening?
Well, this week I will be talking all about ending the finale of the Women's College World Series, the first weekend of AUSL, and of course the beginning of the Men's College World Series. So you definitely do not want to miss all of that great content.
Excellent. That is 10th inning talk. You can subscribe to that everywhere as well. But I mean, baseball, what do you got going on?
Pretty soon. I think we wrapped up a couple of months of minor league baseball. So it's time to start reporting on some of these minor leaguers, black minor league players and prospects that are coming up in the system. I think we got enough data on how they're going to do. We're into June. And so hopefully we get some call-ups and some progress in that note. So blogs on the way.
There's been a lot. I know you follow transaction news really closely. I do as well. A lot of transaction news up and down. Most of it's sitting around the Angels. We always love to talk about the Black Angels. But they signed Lamont Wade Jr.
Right.
So they didn't sign him. They got traded. So I think what happened was the Giants DFA'd him. But then I guess he cleared. And so the Giants traded him for cash consideration to the Angels. Meanwhile, the Giants pulled up Jet Johnson and signed Dominique Smith. So Dominique Smith had opted out of his minor league contract with the Yankees. Giants pick him up. Both of those guys are in the starting lineup, by the way, right now. Jet Johnson and Dominique Smith, and Lamont Wade is over in LA with the Angels. So transactional stuff going crazy. Kind of hard to keep up. It really is.
Angels in the playoffs. Let's do it.
That's what Malik is for. He's here to remind us of all of that. We appreciate you for doing that too.
Word.
Akil Baddoo, unfortunately, DFA. He is we'll see what happens with him. Obviously, Justin Henry Malloy, who we're close to here on the podcast, is back in Toledo, playing there. Like I said, Chase Burns went from Chattanooga to Louisville. He's going to be. He's going to be, I think, in the big second half of the season for sure.
Gotta be.
So there's just a lot. There's a lot of transaction news happening, a lot of good things happening, but we got to keep an eye on it because it moves super fast.
Yes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to end it there. Appreciate all of you. If you have not already, I got to ask you to do one thing for us. Please subscribe to the podcast. Rate and review it. We need to get those stars and those comments. I really appreciate it. We got to thank our partners on the way out: Stilo Sports, Numbers Game Scorecards, the Players Alliance, Rebellion Harvest Sunflower Seeds, Minority Prospects, and Red, Black, and Green Baseball. Flobo, I think, what is it, June?
Yep, it's June.
August, June, July, August. It's about re-up time.
Yeah, I hear you.
The sponsorships.
Yeah, we gotta get some new sponsors out here. I want to read some more cards because I had enough sunflower seeds. We got that in the mix, but I'm still hungry, y'all. So if you're a food product, hit me up.
At the end of the day, it gets kind of tricky there. And
My DMs are open.
We'll see when the fiscal years move on. Well, we appreciate everyone that is always in support of the Black Baseball Mixtape. Ladies and gentlemen, until next time, we